We're catching 70 fish out of the ocean just to raise one farm-raised salmon. And people say, well, this is a farm-raised salmon, so I'm not having an impact on the ocean. No, you're catching 70 fish out of the ocean to feed and raise that one. And of course, the people who eat salmon aren't aware of the fact that a farm-raised salmon, the meat in a farm-raised salmon is a dirty white. Now, nobody's going to buy that. So what they do is they put dye in the food pellets to artificially dye the flesh while it's still alive. And then they also inject it with hormones and antibiotics and all sorts of other things. But we're literally feeding the world's fish to farm animals. The sand eel, tiny little silverfish. You most likely have seen it in pictures of those adorable little puffins. You know, that's the fish that puffins feed upon, and they usually have them in their bills. Puffins are starving in the North Sea because the Danish fishing industry is wiping out sand eels for the sole purpose of turning them into fish meal to feed the factory farm chickens in Denmark. So to produce factory farm chickens, we have to destroy the puffins. That's the kind of world that we're living in right now. And the Japanese and the Norwegians have teamed up to produce a fishing industry to target plankton in the Antarctic with gigantic trawlers, air trawlers, pulling in thousands and thousands of tons of plankton for the purpose of making fish meal to feed the livestock. And plankton is the very foundation of life in the oceans. There's no environmental impact studies. There's no studies at all. All it is we could make a lot of money out of this. These fishing industries are destroying this planet, and they're also doing it at our expense. Worldwide, fishing industries bring in to the economies of the planet about $67 billion and cost taxpayers worldwide $78 billion in subsidies. We are subsidizing our own destruction through this way. And so what we're looking at are long lines, hundreds of miles long, drift nets, tens and 30 miles long, giant drag trawlers, giant purse seine nets, this mechanized slaughter of everything that's living in the oceans. You know, when people in Africa go out and kill giraffe in the bush or mountain gorillas or in that, they call it bushmeat, and we're condemning bushmeat, and rightfully so, but you know, there's really no difference between a one-ton bluefin tuna and a mountain gorilla. They're bushmeat. One's an aquatic bushmeat. Swordfish and other large animals like that in the ocean are all wild animals. I was doing this Sean Hannity show one time. He says, well, what's the difference between a whale and a chicken, Paul? I said, well, geez, Sean, you ever been to a farm? Geez, you know, this is how alienated we are from the natural world. You know, everything is all put into the category of food. Yeah. We don't take into account that a salmon, which takes 4 years to become sexually mature, dies. That's one species. An orange roughy, which you might have heard about a few years ago, but it's since disappeared off of menus everywhere. That's because an orange roughy takes 45 years to become sexually mature and lives to be 150 years old. Halibut live to be 200 years of age. Not only are these animals slow reproducing, but the older they are, the greater the accumulation of toxins in their bodies, mercury and other things. So, and swordfish again, another example. A lobster lives to be almost 200 years of age. Of course, you won't find many of them that age anymore. There was one that actually was caught last month in New Brunswick, and a woman paid from Vancouver, paid $1,000 to buy it and put it back into the ocean. But this was an animal was probably about 120 years old. And so, and the same with the northern cod, probably the greatest and most lucrative fishery of all time was the northern cod. It's completely wiped out. And in the early 1980s, we would say to the Canadian government that the cod fishery was going to collapse, and we were told we didn't know what we were talking about because they had the best scientists in the world. And those scientists assured them that the fishery was healthy right up to the very day it collapsed. Because biologists who work for governments, I have a name for them, they're biostitutes. They're science and law, and it's for sale. Don't trust any scientist who works for any government anywhere in the world. They're whores. You have to have independent studies in order to confirm this. In fact, I was debating one of these scientists, and I said in 3 years' time, the kobo population on the west coast of Canada is going to collapse. And he said, Watson, we don't have any idea what you're talking about. We have the best researchers in the world looking into this. We run the computer models. You are wrong, sir. You are wrong. They're the ones who are guiding world economies as to what to do. So this is we have to understand that we have that power because we all have we all have that power to make a difference, and we should never be intimidated by the so-called expert possible. And that's what gives me hope that we can change this around, that the impossible can become possible. And all of you here are the soldiers in that great effort to change the entire paradigm of society over so that we can make this a world that we can all live in tomorrow. And when I say all species, and understand that they're all brothers and sisters to us and we to them, and we have to learn to live in harmony with them. Thank you.